home, find out that FedEx has dropped off a new piece of equipment for the garage. Pretty excited. Not overly expensive compressor, but it's more than I had for sure. And I wasn't going to be shelling out $3 for a compressor anytime soon, so this was a gift, and I am grateful for it. Looking forward to using some air tools opposed to the standard hand tools. To say it's for automotive repairing, impact wrench. So you guys out there, if you've worked with these, feel free to comment on that with your experience with air tools and such on your automotive or garage uses. But yeah, I'll be unpacking it here shortly, and we'll see how it goes. The packaging is noticeably beaten. The cardboard is single ply and not reinforced anywhere. The polypropylene strapping is a nice effort, but the combination of the flimsy cardboard and the fact that poly strapping loses about 50% of its applied tension within the first hour. So that's why it looks like it's of little use other than just drag handles. But off they go. Yay, owner's manual. And not surprisingly, with the condition of the box, when I pull the first bit of styrofoam packaging out, it is also broken, torn up. But here's the wheels, the handles, and some of the mounting hardware. I guess they could call that reinforcement. I decided to use a box cutter to cut the box away from the compressor versus, say, laying it on its side and sliding the compressor out. Since it does have oil in the compressor, it's never a good idea to lay something that runs on oil on its side. Otherwise you'll get that leaking out all over the place. So, cut it open. There it is. Next, I slip off the protective plastic like a giant prophylactic.
The tires are at least rubber instead of plastic, hard plastic. I've seen that.
And here on the table is the associated hardware that came with the compressor. For both stability and mobility, the first order of business is to install the two wheels with the included hardware.
Three-quarter.
Next is to install the handle, which slides down into the brackets that are welded to the side of the tank and attached with the included hardware again. These are 6 by 20 millimeter hex head bolts that require the use of Allen wrench or something similar. The air filter is nothing more than a thin plastic container holding a small layer of sponge foam with another thin plastic cover with air inlet holes. On a porosity scale, the foam feels like about 20 to 30 ppi, or pores per inch. And installing the air filter is as simple as screwing it into the side of the cylinder head. If I were to upgrade any part on this compressor, I would definitely start with this. Several people have noted that this compressor is particularly loud, and a proper air filter upgrade would at least provide some noise reduction. Now for the oil. The one thing that they don't want you to forget on an oil compressor is the oil. And they remind you of that fact with bright, colorful stickers and tags all over the thing. So don't be that guy. Extra attention here can save you years on any oil compressor. The compressor came with a supply of compressor oil already in the unit. It also came with this white bottle with a fresh change of oil. I found it to be an exact volume change, which is about 5.6 fluid ounces of SAE 30 weight non-detergent air compressor oil. I chose to completely drain whatever oil was in the compressor. I couldn't trust the state of the oil with whatever testing was done at the assembly plant it came from. And the level of oil read correctly, but I feel better about draining and changing fluids before ever running any engine, old or new. 'After the oil is completely drained, the drain plug is reinstalled and tightened. The drain plug is simply a Phillips head screw in the side of the housing. That tag on the fill cap is yet another oil reminder. .6 fluid ounces exactly. The small glass window above the drain plug has a red indicator circle that denotes the proper fluid level when the oil sits in the middle of the circle. For the break-in period of the compressor, an open-ended brass M-style plug is fitted to the quick connect coupler at the tank. pressure regulator is opened to vent air and the pressure switch is turned on. I run the compressor for 30 minutes like this. All the while air is expelled through the coupler. So the compressor runs continuously. After the break-in period of 30 minutes of continuous running, the compressor is shut off, disconnected from the power source, and the oil is flushed again. This should ensure that most contaminants, like metal shavings from internal components, are removed. Metal shavings are not uncommon to find during the break-in period. They come from the milling process during manufacturing. So the oil after the break-in looks obviously darker and somewhat sparkly from the original translucent golden brown of the new oil. I was pretty surprised at that, only after 30 minutes of the initial run time. That's what it does to the oil. I'm even able to identify metal shavings at the drain before I closed it up and refilled it with new oil again. This time I refilled the compressor with cobalt air compressor oil that I picked up at the local hardware store. Again, filling it to the middle of the indicator on the side of the housing. With the compressor ready to go, I start to prepare some hose connectors and attachments with Teflon tape over threaded surfaces. In doing so, makes a huge difference on air loss. I don't see how anyone could use air tools without some level of thread sealant. You end up losing more air than you use through the tool if you don't. I'm going to add here that there's basically two types of material used in hose couplers and connectors. One being steel, which is what I use here, and it's usually less expensive. The other is brass, and I do prefer brass as it resists corrosion, but honestly it's not that big of a difference, and I don't see any performance differences between the two. So I'm all set. Of course, the only air tools I have at the moment is this little air gun for pushing dirt around and scaring the wife out of the garage, of course, and this air chuck. So what better way to test a compressor than adding some air to a few tires? And that's it. Thanks everyone for checking out the compressor, And feel free to check back soon for some real activity as they start implementing impact tools to the Rust and Wrenches garage.